Connecting. Let me just minimize this. See if we get stuff come through to Restream. Okay, Restream's got stuff going through to it, so that's a good start.
Excellent.
Don't
me. It'll either work or it don't.
Okay, Restream's got stuff going through to it, so that's a good start.
Excellent.
Good, you're coming through to that one. Set cookies. Check on Twitch. Okay, let's talk a bit, Skazz, so I can switch your.
Oh yeah, sorry, mate. Isn't it great to live in a world where everything needs the internet without the internet?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're through. You're through. We're live. We're live.
Fantastic.
Oh, dear me. So. Yeah, so for me, I thought YouTube had frozen, but no, YouTube is live as well. So we are running. Right. Good.
Mate, a second ago, my entire machine just locked up. And I was like, Ram? Hello? Ram? Ram? Oh my God, Ram.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, but it's okay. Everything seems to be working.
Yes.
Good.
Don't touch anything.
No, I'm not going to touch. The only thing I'm going to touch is my can of cider. That's the only thing I'm going to touch. So, good evening, on the Suffolk Ram.
Skazz, yes.
We're episode 160 of the Ram Nerds podcast.
Oh my, 160.
Yeah, 160. We have made it. I'm sure it's significant in some way, but we're
still alive.
We are still alive. And, you know, we might, and all being well, we will be able to see each other again by June.
And, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Well, if everybody behaves themselves and gets the vaccine, yes.
Yeah, don't.
Behave yourself and get the vaccine.
They don't believe in the vaccine. They don't believe in the vaccine because they
and
don't
I'll
believe in
come
the
and
thing.
shoot you. Then you won't have to worry about it anymore.
That's what I said to a few people. It's like, hey, don't worry about it because, you know, if you die, then we don't have to worry.
Yeah, it's just as good. So, bit of an unusual setup tonight. Skazz has got technical issues. So there was a man up a pole, which apparently has ruined everything.
Yes. It's great. Yes, because our internet went down today, and I was like, our internet's down. No one in the house is complaining to me yet. Oddly enough, it turns out that everyone in the house was doing something offline. First time for that ever. And I was like, maybe I should just, you know, restart the modem because the connection's been a bit flaky for the last few days. I'll have a look at that. No. And then the wife's like, hey, there's a man up the pole. And I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, there's a man on the pole. And I was like, oh, that's an OpenReach engineer. No wonder our internet's gone down. Muppet can't leave things alone. And yeah, it turns out that he's completely broken our internet. I guess they might have been lifting and shifting and our line has gone. And now there is no connection coming into the house. It's fantastic.
Literally, an interesting thing about OpenReach, I literally learned this morning, listening to somebody else's podcast. Every 2 weeks, all the OpenReach engineers have climbed enough distance up and down the poles, they could get to ISS.
Then they should probably keep going.
The pole doesn't go that high. It would also be quite treacherous because the pole was actually this high as the ISS would be going around very, very fast.
Wow. Not my problem, is it?
Like if you know, like sort of in like It's a Knockout or Wipeout or like Fall Guys, where the poles go around really quickly and jump over them. The satellites would have to do that, and the ISS would every so often the ISS would have to like try the thrusters just right to miss the pole.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. And then can we watch the little BT OpenReach guy get hit and just fly through space? Like,
yeah. So, yeah. The only job where you require not many jobs that require a spacesuit, but astronaut and BT OpenReach engineer are one of them.
Mate, I wouldn't even give him a suit. Just let him go just high enough.
They'll be fine. They're dungarees. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Well, this is brilliant. We don't need their fancy spacesuits. Just hold your breath.
Exactly. Stiff upper lip, mate. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
Stop complaining.
Dungarees and a high-vis jacket. That and a hard hat. That protects you against every known threat.
Absolutely everything.
This is where
everything.
This is where the military have been going wrong. They keep making body armor. They keep making Kevlar. They keep making all this fancy stuff. High-vis jackets, hard hats, and and a pair of even Dickies trousers. They'll do fine, and some steely toe cap boots. You're protected from everything. It's a known fact. That's why no one ever dies in British work for that places.
Like anything, in anything.
No, we all have high vises on. That's
all the time. Like right now, you can't see that right now I am in fact wearing a high vis jacket.
Yeah, I saw you on the camera earlier. It's a very nice height. It's very clean. Have you had it washed recently?
Yes.
Did you go for off the shelf or tailored?
It's tailored, mate. It's tailored.
Oh, good.
It's gotta be, because I'm a classy motherfucker and I'm British.
Yeah.
I can't be one of those American guys with the beer gut hanging out and the the sweat running down my beer belly and my bum crick. Nah, mate. I've got my high vis top hat on too.
Oh, good.
To go over the top of my hard hat.
Yeah, your three-piece high-vis suit.
Yep. Got my monocle on, my high-vis monocle.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Who are?
2 days' time, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, 29th of February. Well, obviously there's no 29th of February, but for all intents and purposes, 2 days' time.
Yeah! How terrible is that? It's not that I forgot. I just completely forgot that the month ended. I was like,
the month ends.
Mate, I've been asking people all week. I've been like, what day is it? And they're like, it's this day. I was like, really? I could have swore it was like, I don't know, whatever day. It's like, no. It's like when someone goes, it's okay, Granddad, it's this day. And I'm like, all right.
What you're saying is you've hit the dementia range early.
Yes. I've got no idea. If someone hadn't said to me, Skazz, you've got a very important thing to do on Saturday, and it's not to go and get stabbed by an American pharmaceutical company, then I'd have been like, what?
I've just got visions of it in June, assuming that all happens, because assuming everybody behaves and gets the vaccine. I'm assuming.
I don't need to.
Yeah, well, you do. I'll show you. I'll come jab you myself if I have to.
No, I've done it.
You've had it?
Yeah, I've had it.
Oh, well done, mate.
That's what I remember today.
Hey, well done. Congratulations.
Look, can I just start there? That's why I thought everything was a bit like, hang on a minute. I'm getting done in by American Pharma and my internet's gone down?
Yeah.
They're watching me.
Indeed. Now, the important question. Have you now got autism?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay. That proves that.
And all of the other things that they say that the vaccine. What other things does the vaccine do?
Vaccines cause adults.
Oh, what? Is that that's like? Do you know what? There's only one other thing just as annoying. Bloody water and oxygen. What is the point? Just turns everyone into like serial killers and.
But this is the shocking thing. Water is 2/3 oxygen.
No.
Is it, or is it the other way around? I can't remember now. It's H2O, so it's 2/3. It's either 1/3 or 2/3. But then, of course, the mass has a difference. So they should get by its mass.
Look, you're using.
Sorry, I'm just going to.
I don't even know what day of the week it is, and you're using words and.
Hang on. Water is oxygen. Wow. 88.81% of water is oxygen.
Well, there you go then. Stop worrying about drowning.
Exactly. Just breathe it.
It's fine.
Exactly. Just breathe. What's the problem?
But by the way, I just want to throw out there that neither Ram nor myself are scientists.
Speak for
chances
yourself.
are if you do what we do.
I've got a degree. I've got a science degree.
Yes.
It's in animals.
I'm sure
crops,
it is.
But it means I'm now a qualified scientist, therefore I can with confidence know every subject. Because I'm like those movie scientists. You know, in the film, they have a scientist who's like a physicist, a biologist, an astrophysicist, a chemist, a computer programmer,
engineer too.
Yeah. Look, that's the sort of scientist I am, because I'm supremely confident in my scientific ability, but know nothing. That's the important part, you see. But I sound confident when I say it.
I was going to say that sounds like you're someone at a party or on Facebook, or are you a keyboard warrior?
Occasionally, yes.
Ah.
But I only found out recently the idea of a keyboard warrior is not to hit people with the keyboard. It's to type things. I didn't realise that. I've been doing it wrong all the time. Well, the problem I had was the cables aren't long enough.
Nah, well, you see, that's the trick. That's why I bought a keyboard with a detachable keyboard,
You
like
see,
a cable.
Yeah, it should have done that, you see. So I have to get people to come near the PC for me to hit them. I mean, I've got a core sum account. This is a heavy beast, this core sum account. Please on keyboard. This could do some damage.
You might have damaged the USB port on your computer. What is wrong with you?
Oh, no, it's reinforced. It's got reinforced cable on the back of this keyboard.
I've just got this vision, actually, of you having your computer on, like, wheels, on, like, caster wheels.
Come here, you bastard!
Come
here! Come here! I've got my keyboard! Come here! Come here! That looks like I just realised that looks like I'm riding a horse. Gangnam Style.
It's funny, actually. The wife mentioned that the other day, so I started dancing down the street to it.
Oh, yeah.
Insanity's contagious, mate. I've been inside for quite some time by choice.
Now, this is what I'm going to see. I want to make sure that when you finally get released into the wild, after your, I want to come film, because you know, like the scenes in film where people have been trapped, they sort of like they've been like in a nuclear bunker and they come up to surface for the first time in years, and they sort of like, is this what sunlight looks like? And they sort of glance up and sort of like, I don't know, the world, it goes to a nice panning shot showing the big sort of world around them, and it's quiet and desolate and everybody's dead. That's basically what I want to film when you come into the house, because that's what it's going to be like. You're going to walk out and go, sunlight? Oh no, it's cloudy.
Mate, we're British. We've never seen the sun. Anytime I see like a California skyline, I'm like, you fucking liars.
Yeah, what's up?
No wonder you've got so many conspiracy theorists over there. I mean, what the fuck's that giant ball of fire in the sky?
Yeah. Why are you worshipping that?
Yeah. That said, I've got to go let the dog out for a shit. Hang on. Bloody dog.
Timing.
Ah.
You had one job.
Why you do this to me? You're a dick. Nothing seems to have exploded whilst I was away. I'm an excellent supervisor.
Yeah, that is the managerial way. So
I did it.
Yeah. Which jabs? Were you Pfizer or were you Oxford?
As I said, American pharmaceutical company.
You're Pfizer. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't just Americans. It was co-developed with the Germans, I think it was.
Well, that's even worse. Then I'm doomed. I was going to say, I am yet, though, to start drinking Starbucks and screaming about freedom. So I haven't.
You're not planning to march. You're not planning to march. No, I didn't say you're not going to plan to march on the capital and invade it, but those people wouldn't take the vaccine.
No, you're right.
So no. That's good.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not particularly bothered. It was quite funny actually when I went in. There were people actually reading the. They give you a little pamphlet,
right,
with it to tell you about all the side effects and what it's made of, and you know that you're not going to turn into mush when they inject it into you, and then they say to you, sit down for an extra 15 minutes so we make sure that you're not dead before you leave. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, and some people were really, really freaking out about it.
Oh, really?
It's just an injection. I mean, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen other than, you know, potentially being dead?
Well, yeah, true. So now this is the important question. Does the microchip hurt?
Well, it is a bit itchy. It isn't, like, legit. Just to throw out there, I haven't had any side effects at all to the microchip at all. I know many people who have now had this vaccine. A few of them have been quite sick.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's your problem, mate? But then that said, I've pretty much spent majority of my life in NHS facilities. So I'm like, what's this, mate?
You're just immune to illnesses in general. That's the thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I know. I've known about. Let's see. So both my parents have now had it. My grandfather's had it. They've all been fine. Someone at work, a couple at work have had it. One had a really bad. Well, it didn't. I don't say a word reaction because reaction implies that it's something wrong with the vaccine. His body did what it's meant to do. It fought off the vaccine. It fought off the virus, which is how it learns. What it's meant to do. And he basically he felt like he had the flu the next day, but then the day after he was fine. Yeah. And a friend of mine, his mother-in-law's had it, and she did the same thing. She said she had basically flu-like symptoms the next day. Apparently, you get that more with the Oxford vaccine, which is a traditional style vaccine, than with the mRNA vaccine. You have that less that reaction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of the different. The Oxford vaccine's I can't remember if it's a dead virus or a weakened virus. I can't remember which one it is, but it's like a traditional style vaccine, which is why it's more stable at higher temperatures. So you tend to have a reaction to it because that's how it works. But mRNA vaccines work slightly differently. So you're less likely to have a reaction to it, which is probably, I think the people probably haven't the Pfizer vaccine. So
interesting, because a few people I know who have already had, pre-existing conditions, were all advised to have the Oxford one.
I wonder if that's because it's also the mRNA vaccines. They're new, but they're not that new. They've been around for a while. But this is like the big one. Whereas also the one they know more about the traditional style vaccine. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm not medical. Strange. Do you remember? Despite that I'm on to be a scientist who knows everything, I'm not a medical professional.
That's fine. That just means that you're not making all of your cash on that. You're an internet celebrity.
Because in the films, they always have the scientist. They always have a doctor as well. The scientist knows the doctor. They never have. That's the bit where they don't cross over. The scientist knows everything, but medicine.
Yes, that's about right. Yes, that's because they're all American.
Yep, they know everything. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, although Brit's unless you're Dr. House. Well, he's American, fake American.
At which point, then but he's fake American, which means he's like, oh mate, I can do all of this and then some, and be a dick, and get away with it, and fake my own death, and take drugs, and that would be great. I
can honestly say I've never watched an episode of House.
Have you not?
No, I've never watched. I don't know if it's any good or not. I've never literally watched an episode. I know it's got who. All I see is whenever I see Hugh Laurie, I just think Jeeves and Worcester, and so I just was waiting for Stephen Fry to turn up all the time.
Fair that.
So anyway, now we've sort of like just put the world to rights. So, Skazz, what have you been up to?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you, mate. Not a whole lot. I've played more Monster Hunter. I continue to play more and more and more Monster Hunter. Like, that's the only thing keeping me alive right now.
Is it still the PSP version you've been playing?
No, we've been playing a combination of PSP and Nintendo Switch because one of my Monster Hunter partners decided to finally get what's it called? Monster Hunter Generations. Which I've put in way more time than I thought I had. I was like, oh mate, I only put in a few hours when it came out, and I looked at the timer and it's like, oh yeah mate, you've been playing that for over 20 hours. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. Slight addiction to Monster Hunter, but no, I'm really looking forward to the one coming out next month.
Cool.
Monster Hunter. I forgot what it's called now. It's just that's this damn Alzheimer's and this autism that's kicking in because of this vaccine. What the hell's it called?
Do you want me to look it up for you?
Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, that's the one. Christ, I was like, why did that take so long for my brain to kick in there? I'm becoming American. Stop, please. Oh, God. But, so I'm really looking forward to Monster Hunter Rise coming out. But, would you believe I've actually played a game?
Have you?
That ain't Monster Hunter. Not Monster Hunter, it's not World of Warcraft either.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
So I have been playing a little indie title called Iconoclasts.
That name rings a bell.
All right, now I don't generally like to give first impressions of games because I've only really put like an hour or two into it. I wanted to play more and stream more of it, but with interwebs not being a thing, but it's Linux compatible, and there's also a Switch version which I own. It's one of those games that I really wanted to play a while back, so I bought it on like everything that I might play it on in hopes that at some point I'd get around to it. And I was like, yeah, I'm really excited to play this, and then just put it down and never played it. And I was like, oh, I've got it, and then just put it on a shelf and walked away. It's like, oh well, I'll play it one day. And that's the story of how my game collection just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm just like, oh, that looks cool, buy it. Well, and then I don't know, 10 years later, I go back, oh wow, I've got that game. I'll have a go at that. But yeah, Iconoclasts is an indie metroidvania style game. Right? I've explained what a metroidvania style game is before, but it's a Metroid game. So the name comes from Metroid and Castlevania being kind of splashed together, and it was popularized with Castlevania Symphony of the Night, in that you've got a map, you can't really see where you're going, and as you navigate room to room, so you can move up, down, left and right on a screen as 2 dimensions. As you navigate through room to room, your map gets built up, and you'll eventually come across rooms where you can't progress unless you complete a puzzle or find an item, or there'll be certain paths that are blocked until, say, you find a certain item, at which point you can then backtrack and go through new paths and things like that until you find bosses and all. There's no real hardcore order to a Metroidvania game. You can just basically, because sometimes you can just kind of find little tricks to get through certain things earlier than you probably should, or you can get through certain areas without certain items, and then you might find that a certain boss is really bloody hard because you haven't got the certain skill that they're designed to be beaten by. But Iconoclasts is like it's a Metroidvania style game. You play in a, I don't know, the story hasn't been particularly well explained at the start, but from what I gather, everything has hit the fan, and the church has made a grab for power, almost as a way to kind of organize and save what's left of humanity. And so they dole out power in the form of ivory batteries. They control literally everything, military, you're assigned a job, they control finance. If you break the rules, it's kind of very 1984ish, in that if you break the rules, really bad things just happen to you. Pretty much everything is considered a sin. If you're really, really good and you suck up to the system, then you get to go and live in like this heavenly city where the blight that has kind of struck the world doesn't really exist. So everyone's kind of willing to do whatever they can to get to the magical protected city where you can actually live a proper life, because that's where the church's favorites live. Everyone in the eyes of the church, they're basically disposable. You're just a unit, you're just a number. So even if you do work directly for the church, you are just the higher. If you're below someone else, even if you still work for the church, you are expendable. You are completely expendable. And if you try to do anything to better your life outside of what the church gives you, again, sin, and they will come and screw with your family and your friends and take everything from you. They could, destroy your home, kill family members, people get taken away. And that's kind of the groove that I've got at the moment. The main character is is an engineer. Now, she's not supposed to be an engineer. That was the job that was assigned to her father, but her father passed away, and the only things he really had left were his tools. And so she uses those to help people outside of the city. So like repairing certain objects, tools that people need for their day-to-day lives. until all of a sudden people start to realize that you're going around doing things you shouldn't be doing. The church gets a bit sus and they start to come after you. Yeah. So you're equipped with a little stun gun. So you've got a very short ranged attack. You have a spanner, which you can use to unlock doors and interact with certain objects. You can also club enemies with it. You've got ground pounds to break blocks and jump on enemies. And just basically the idea is to navigate from room to room, solving mini puzzles until, I don't know, the next story event happens. I haven't played enough of it to really say a huge amount about the story. Everything seems corrupt. Everything seems unfair. You can see a 1984 style resistance coming in. And it's really fun. Graphically, it's in a pixel art style.
Yeah, which fits the theme of metroidvania. It sort of fits the theme, doesn't it? Yeah.
And the music is quite nice. And like I said, it's on Windows, Mac, and it's on Windows, Mac, Linux. It's on most of the consoles. I don't know if it's on Xbox, but I know it's on PlayStation and Switch. But as far as Metroidvania style games go, this one's really fun. The story interests me actually, because even though I don't really know quite what's going on, everything's. You know how in Final Fantasy VII, if you worked for the Shinra Electric Company, you pretty much had an all right life. But the further you went away from the board of directors kind of thing, it got harder and harder and harder until you ended up not even in the good books. You ended up in the slums. Very much like this or very much like that in Iconoclasts. If you worked for the church and you're high up, you get to live in the city where everyone's, living the dream kind of thing. And if you step a foot wrong, back in the slums you go. They even say the people of the world aren't even allowed to handle the machinery and the things that actually give them power. They're not allowed to. It's a sin to. Anything they could potentially do to better themselves is a sin. They will just get punished for it. They're not allowed to look for alternative energy sources. They're not allowed to do extra jobs. In fact, right at the start, this one family is completely torn apart because the wife decides she's going to go into the forest and find a different place to pick mushrooms so that they can get some extra food.
Oof, can't do that.
And the church comes down on them hard, destroys their home. I think she's either carted away to the city or killed. They haven't really said which. But the husband is in complete pieces, howling his eyes out because he can't understand why simply going into the forest to find mushrooms or a different spot to find mushrooms and drawing a little map and telling people hey, here's where you can find some mushrooms. He doesn't understand why that's such a crime. Why did his family have to be torn apart over some mushrooms and some drawings?
Harsh.
But yeah, don't rock the boat.
So, is it fantasy world? Is it sort of dystopian future our world, or?
Oh, see, that's a weird one because most of the areas I've gone through so far are caves, little villages outside of forests. I've not gone to anywhere that isn't a village in the boonies yet. I've been lost at sea. I've ended up on a desert island, and I haven't really. I would imagine we're talking quite dystopian future. I imagine I'm going to end up in flashbacky style cyberpunky cities or whatever, but the rest of the world where the peasants and all that live seems to have been left behind. I'm just taking a swing at it because literally you don't see a whole lot of anything. You just see that a lot of lost technology is roaming about, like robots and mutants and things like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So the way you described it, I was in my head thinking fantasy, but actually it sounds more sci-fi.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the churches have the churches are quite outside. They look like cathedrals, but when you look at say the clerics' robes and things, they're more kind of mechanical. You see a lot of robots. The first two bosses are just giant robots that you have to bosh the crap out of with your wrench, and that you have to take literally take them apart. They have some quite sophisticated vehicles, but the areas that I've been to, like, they still have, cars and things like that, but they seem to only belong to people who come from the city or from the church. Generally, if you're not in the big city, then you're just, you're walking about. You don't really have anything. You've got a few bits that are in your house, and you have just enough to get through your daily doings, hand to mouth kind of thing.
Oh, it certainly sounds interesting. It certainly sounds interesting premise and concept. And for what you played of it so far, is it fun? Is it?
I quite enjoy it. I mean, the few hours that I've played of it didn't feel like a few hours at all. There's always something going on. The puzzles right at the start are really, really, really simple. Like move block here, open this door, backtrack to another corridor, operate next piece of machinery. Oh hey, that's now opened a door three areas back, kind of thing. So now I can access this area. It's neat. Very simple at the moment, though. I can see there's going to be a lot of expansion. As I say, all I've got right now is my wrench, the basic gun. I think I picked up another item. I can't remember what it was. You can upgrade your weapons and your character as well through stuff like, was it Metallium, Upgradium, and stuff like that. So you actually have like slots, and you can go to crafting tables and make things out of these random items that would say absorb a hit of damage, make your wrench more powerful for melee attacks, and you swap them in and out. So I think at the moment I can only carry 3, but there seems to be kind of options to be able to make more and more and more of these things, and then you can just swap them in and out as you need them when you go to a save point.
Oh, sounds kind of cool.
I would recommend giving it a go. I mean, it's a hard one to explain. Like I said, I don't really like giving first impressions because I haven't put enough time in it to really figure out where this one is going. But it seems really, really, really neat. And the story, there's a lot of potential there. Not brilliantly written. It's almost Super Nintendo quality of story delivery at the moment. Where everything has to be short and almost cartoonish, but it's pretty fun. It is pretty fun. And right now, the game does happen to be on sale on Steam. I think for about £7. So if anyone would like to give it a go, give it a go.
So has it got any? Is it just part you mentioned about upgrading weapons and stuff, or is there any other sort of upgrades, or is it like character upgrades in there as well? Is there like
I haven't seen any shy of, like, I believe there's probably going to be a double jump in there. There's going to be agility style upgrades and special wrench upgrades that allow me to, like, there are like nuts and bolts around that you can kind of latch onto with your wrench, with your spanner. And it seems like you can use those to transport yourself along the lines connected to them. It's almost like a teleport sort of thing, almost like you're moving across circuitry or whatever. But I haven't unlocked anything to really be able to say. There are plenty of slots to say unlock, and there's loads of them. I don't know what any of them really are. I'd just be guessing at this point by looking at trailers and that. So.
Oh, well, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, it's on every platform. It's quick, it's simple, it's goofy fun. Graphically, it's nice. The music's all right, and it's cheap. It's cheap. It's all right.
Yeah, awesome.
Have you done anything, Rem?
Well, I've been playing. I've actually the only time I played is it was released for free on the Epic Game Store a little while back, as they do these weekly free games, and I just picked it up and I thought.
Well, I did wonder if anyone actually played those, because a lot of people I know actually claim those games, but they never play them.
Yeah, well, I've been claiming them all because I've got it's not even my type of game. Hey, it's free. Why wouldn't you? So I'm playing Wilmot's Warehouse, which
my mate Divine has been talking about that one.
All right, cool. It's I suppose it is a puzzle game, but it's more of a memory management game. So the basic idea is you're Wilmot, and you are put in charge of a warehouse. And the main part of the game, there's sort of three phases in the game, but the main one, the two you'll be dealing with are the delivery phase and the service phase. So you're in charge of this warehouse. Delivery phase happens. A lorry pulls up to the back of the warehouse. It drops off a load of goods. So these goods, everything is a tile-based game, 2D, top-down, very simplistic tile-based game. Every good item takes up one tile. There's no like 2 tiles, 3 tiles, any of that. It's all one item, no matter what size it is. And each tile's got a little symbol on it that gives you a vague idea of what it is. And that could be anything from actually like a picture of something like a lollipop or paintbrush, to just a pattern. It's just got patterns on it. Or just like all circles, different colours. So you pick these up, and then you have 2.5 minutes to basically work this delivery. You could put it at places, you could put it in the parts of the warehouse where you want, to sort it up. So after those 2.5 minutes, the shutter opens and you go to the service phase, and you have 4 people, and they will all be requesting certain items, and they'll request certain numbers of these items. So you have to go find said items and bring it to them, and then they take it off you, and off you go. You get good marks, and by doing that, you earn stars. So a couple of people have like stars underneath them, and those stars are like a countdown. So as you go and get the items, those stars will start to disappear until they go down to nothing. So if you get quick enough to them, then you'll get all the stars. If you take your time over it, then you'll get nothing. You also get stars for overall time. So again, it starts at 3 stars and gradually drops down. Provided you get everybody's goods set up, then you're golden. You're sorted, you're gone, you got the goods, you get the stars. If you fail to deliver the goods to somebody, then you don't get any stars at all. Anything you have, you could lose everything. So you may have got all the guys the high stars. If the last person you've missed up and you didn't get to them in time, you lose everything.
Sure.
That sort of thing. So it starts off very simple, but every time you complete these service phases, for the next delivery phase, you'll get what they call the manifest appear. There'll be 4 boxes. As you click on the boxes, they reveal a new item. And so every time you do this, you get 4 new items added to the manifest of stuff you can have delivered. And these will then start appearing on the deliveries, which you then sort of start sorting out, putting in places and so forth. So it starts off fairly straightforward, but you can see quite quickly how it's going to get more and more complicated. There's a total of 200 different items in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it starts off very straightforward, but it starts getting fairly complicated. So you find yourself, so the key part is basically memory management. You've got to organise your warehouse in such a way that you can remember, because it's okay at first, we've only got a few lines, you may only take like the top row up, but by the end of it, you'll be filling the entire warehouse up with goods, and the time it takes you to move from one end to the other takes quite a while. So you need to know where you're going first, so you don't take the wrong turn. Otherwise, you're going to run out of time because you can't get everywhere you need to get. So you'll start organising. So I initially organised things I had tools all together, I had foodstuffs all together, and I had all the patterns all together. That worked initially, but I found fairly quickly on that it's hard to try, because you have to when you go and look at the items, you have to draw a rough idea of what you're looking for. But it does, as you walk away from the counter, they do appear on the top. There's like a little list appears on the top to tell you what you're after. So you can just glance up, but you find yourself keep glancing up, looking at these items, and I found it a bit tricky. But all the item tiles have like a different coloured background. So you have like orange backgrounds or purple backgrounds, or like there's like a navy background and a mauve background, and all these backgrounds. So after a while, I started grouping them by colour, the predominant colour of the item, and then obviously amongst those colours, I then grouped like items together. And then of course, you've got to decide how deep do you put them. Do you put them like 2 deep against the wall? Do you put them 3 or 4 deep? And So the reason I did that is it means that when you go to the guys, you've only got to glance and look at the colour initially to start heading the right direction. As you're heading in the direction, you can then look in more depth of what you need. So it actually makes it a little bit. I found that was the quickest way to do it. Was colour and then look for the item once you're getting there. You sort of plan ahead. So you have to sort of, later on, you do have to sort of like be planning what you're going to get next. Once you pick up a load of items, you're going to head back. You've got to plan what you're going to get next once you drop them off to get done in time. So it soon builds very complicated. Now, the stars that you're earning can be used to upgrade your character or the warehouse itself. So by default, your character can only say lift 6 items. That's all they can do. But you can upgrade them to be able to lift 8, 10, and finally 12. You can upgrade it so that you can remove pillars in the warehouse. The warehouse has 6 pillars in it initially, take up a lot of space. You can upgrade or remove each of those pillars. So you gain more space in the warehouse to store more goods, which you have to do because there's no way you physically store the goods in.
And make it easier for you to move around realistically.
Yeah,
not having to dodge around certain.
Yeah. And you have to make so. Now, the game does give you a bit of a breather. I mentioned there are 3 phases. After 3 delivery and service phases, you go to what they call the stock take. And the stock take is where basically there's no timer. You can spend as long as you want. And you'll get another delivery still comes in, but there's no time, and the game will not advance. You click the clocking machine to move back to the next service, and then delivery, then service, and delivery, then service phase.
Yeah.
So you have got breathing space. You have got time because you will later on. You will not be getting that delivery organised and sorted before the service phase gets there. You will get maybe half of it done. Because as you get it's easy at first because there aren't many items, so you're going to get lots of matching up and pairs, so you can take big chunks at a time. As it gets on, you're getting lots of items, you'll gain 1s and 2s coming through. Sure. So you'll spend a lot of time. So I actually ended up reorganising. So this year in my warehouse, I was also going with the pillars, I had the rows running left to right. I actually realised that actually made it slower because they go up against a wall. I couldn't get there, so actually I did a massive switch round and moved all my rows vertical, running up and down, and then I could leave a gap at the bottom, and I would actually go and pick goods up and actually drop them at the bottom of each sort of aisle, as it were, the right colour coded. Not saying together, but I could do it quickly, and then I'd go back and pick them up. You still won't get the delivery all done. You're still going to be fine. By the time your stock take rolls around, you'll have like probably half your delivery still there from the previous rounds, as it were. So the stock is just a breathing space for you to reorganise things and get your house ready. So a lot of it comes down to optimisation. Can you optimise your warehouse so you can get done stuff quickly? And it is nice. It's a lovely feeling when you get your list of goods and you can go, I know exactly what those are. And in your head, okay, I've planned the most efficient route around this warehouse. I can pick as much as I want up and do it all in virtually in one go. Really, you won't get everything in one go, so you can't carry that much, but you'll get close to it. So there's that nice bit when you get it right. And then obviously if you get it wrong, it's like, oh shit, where is everything? Where is it put up at that? Or what? When I was organising, I'd say, okay, this looks like it should be a purple background, I'll put the purple stuff. When I should get it, go, hey, that item looks mainly yellow, I'll go to yellow stuff. Where is it? Oh, it's not here. Oh shit, it's with the purple stuff, because when I was organising it, in my thinking time, I thought that looked like something like this. I should organise it like this. But in my reactionary time, I just gutted and thought, no, it's something else. So it's basically a memory game. Unlike memory games where the computer's brand new, you've got to remember afterwards. You're fighting yourself.
Sure.
You've got to make it as easy as possible. It does get to a stage where you simply can't. The amount of goods you're going to get coming to your warehouse, you simply can't organise it enough. There's simply not enough space, and you have to make lots of compromises to get everything in. I'll be honest, for the last 3 rounds, I knew the game was getting towards the end. I didn't bother working delivery. I just got straight to the next bit, just because I knew I just got straight to the next bit, got the stuff, and passed it on. You can also get unlock like a little robot to help you out. I think his name's Borky. I think his name is, and he'll actually go pick goods up and put them in what he thinks is the correct place, which is like near the other items. To be honest, he's like most AI. He's pretty useless because he can't work out how they don't know how you're planning to organise your warehouse. So
Yeah.
if say I'm doing items 4 deep, and I've got 7 in place, I've got like a gap. In my head, I know I can put one in front and push it back and cover it up. Borky doesn't know that and will just put it in front of the nearest pile. So you'll find he does help somewhat because he'll carry on working while you're doing your service phase. So he at least gets stuff in the rough location, which does make it a little bit easier. But he's pretty useless. But although you can, he's at first he's quite slow, but you can lock him so he goes a little bit faster, which makes life a lot easier. Makes life a little bit easier.
Sure.
So yeah. You can also, although I said you've got limits on what you can lift, you can lift more than that, but you can drag it. So you sort of slowly move, which in practice is no good. It's no good for the actual proper service phase. You simply not going to be quick enough. You can also push like objects. So if you get behind a set of objects and push, you'll move the entire row. No matter how long it is, you'll move it. So you can sort of shunt stuff around the warehouse like that. You can sort of move bits and pieces around. Oh, I need to create an extra line. Oh, I'll just shunt a whole gap in here. You can do it like that one. And yeah, as you go on, so yeah, what else can you go? You can also get like some neat features. You can get like a time lapse feature, and you can watch the time lapse of your entire warehouse when you first started playing until the current point. So you can watch in time and see how you watch yourself reorganizing the warehouse and see how you get better.
That's
Quite
interesting.
Neat. That's neat. It's actually seeing it. I think what happens is every time the game auto saves, it takes like a snapshot of the warehouse every time it auto saves. I think it's what it's doing anyway to get that time lapse effect. But yeah, that's neat. That's quite cool watching that. There's also a map you can unlock. There's a manifest which shows you which you can see what items you unlock. Which to be honest, they're not really any use those bits. There's what they call pager function, which lets you see what the orders are going to be before the service hatch opens. Also, you go to the service hatch, so you see them early. That actually isn't really any good because you don't know other people who's got the highest stars. So you need to go to the service hatch first anyway to see who's got the stars. You want to put those people first to get the most stars. So that doesn't really help a great deal. But after that, it's a really neat game. Your boss, CJ, every so often as you get more items, he'll give you a motivational poster.
All right.
Yeah, and they're basically health and safety posters. My third one, though, is he goes, hey, you're doing really well. Perhaps eventually you may employ of the month. In the meantime, here's a poster. And it's the employee of the month. Post the person who won it instead. Like, cheers, CJ. Because the only button is the little button doesn't say, okay, this is thanks, CJ. And that's what every button you press is thanks, CJ. And the game carries on until you get to 200 items and then you get kicked out. They replace you with a robot and kick you out. But it's fun time. It's surprisingly long. I didn't think it was going to take me that long to get through it. But according to the game's timer, I haven't actually checked. I don't know what actual time is, but it took me nearly 10 hours.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that's correct. I think it's counting idle time in that as well. I think it's more like 7 to 8.
Okay.
But it's still a fair.
That's still a long ass time.
Yeah.
For what it is, let's be honest.
Yeah, but if you're the sort of person who's got a slightly obsession with making things be organised and liking things neat and tidy and organised and letting it just so,
yeah,
this game niggles you. So this game is you will spend 10, 50. The service phase and the delivery phase are total 4 minutes each. So you do 3 of those, and you only have 2 delivery phases out of that. So you'll spend like 10 minutes before you get your next stock take. The stock take phase, you're probably spending 20 minutes, half an hour. Just sort of neating things up.
I suppose it makes sense when you break it down like that.
Yeah. So it's all sort of add up. I was surprised, but I've checked online. A lot of people said similar time span. So it is a longish, surprisingly long game if you get sort of that niggle on it. So for me, who's got that sort of like, I like things. I like people. You wouldn't necessarily know if you look at my room that everything looks a bit mess. But actual fact, I'll give you an example. Sat next to me on my camera on my batteries for my lights. The batteries are all laid out on my desk the same way round, lined up neatly like that, all perfectly lined up, all the same way around, ready. I automatically put them in that order. I like things like that. But that's something I like being neat. It's just the little things all tallied up nice and neat and organised. But other than that, I'm just a bit scatterbrained, have everything just dumped everywhere. But it's that sort of like thing. But it hits that little niggly part. It's like, I can't go. I was like, last night before, I was like, it's getting late. I need to get to bed. I've got to be up early. My warehouse isn't tidy. So I need to get this done. So half an hour later, it's like, yes, I'm happy now. I can go to bed now. I can finish my day and go to bed now. So
I just imagine how horrible would it be for you to go and work in Argos?
Oh, this is the thing, guys. See, I work in retail and I also basically work in operations, and warehouse is part of that. So this is very similar to what I do as a day job. And it has the same sort of annoyance. There's a bit later on, quite late on, where you're doing so well that CJ goes on holiday and is replaced as a special bonus. They empty the bin behind the warehouse for you, and I thought that's very realistic. Sometimes you have to basically, can we the bin emptied at some point? Yeah, we'll get it organised. Yeah, we've done it now. Yeah, that's surprisingly realistic. So it's funny actually how much it made me think of just. It's like I do this for a living, and I spend my time at home organising a warehouse as well. So it's surprising. It was not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a little simple, for something I got for Fred. I'm just going to look up see how much it costs.
It's £11.
Okay. Probably worth it, to be fair.
I'd say so if you put 8 hours into it.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, £11. Yeah, I'd say it's worth it actually. Yeah.
I didn't check to see if that was on sale, but I think it was about £11.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's probably. I'd say it's probably worth it. I got it through on Epic, so. But I was expecting it to be like, puzzle games. I expect it to be about 2 to 3 hours. That's what I expect out of puzzles. So 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours at most puzzle games. That's what they tend to be. So at that time, I actually thought, that's a fairly decent investment. I've got a decent output from it. So, really, if you like that sort, if you're a bit neat and you like organising things, then you'll enjoy this game. If it will drive you insane when the delivery comes and goes, why? I've actually said this in real life. Why the fuck have they sent this in? We don't need any more of this. I've got plenty of it.
Yeah.
I find myself saying, why haven't you sent me one of these? What's the point of sending me one? How can I fill a shelf? That's a whole waste of shelf space, just one thing in it. Again, very true to life. And when you're getting build-up, it's like, I've got 50 shields here. I don't need 50 shields. Somebody come buy some shields off me so I can get rid of them. They're just taking up space in my warehouse.
2 for 1 shield sale this weekend.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, not more blue dot pattern. I want blue dot pattern. What do you mean sprinkles? I don't need sprinkles. Like, why am I going to do 20 shower heads? I mean,
no one buys this shit.
Yeah, it's like no. I got delivered early on penguins, and they sat in the corner of the warehouse the entire game. I think I sold about 2 of them.
They're all the Linux gaming laptops.
Yeah, they just sat there. Like, why am I these penguins waste of space? So it is surprising. It's surprisingly true to life. It is surprising. I'm tempted to get my warehouse colleague to get him to play it and say, trust me, this is surprisingly true to life.
And he'll be like, mate, no, I already go insane through work.
Yeah. But I think it's also a really good example of a really simple concept. It's such a simple concept. It's put things down, pick things up. There is no... but it generates strategy out of that. It generates sort of complexity out of such thing so simple. So I think it's a great example of that sort of thing. And actually, they are the best sort of, in my opinion, puzzle games. The ones that have simple rules, but the simple rules generate complicated situations.
Yeah.
So So I do recommend it. And so pick it up.
Fantastic.
Cool. Sadly, Skazz, that's all I've got for you, I'm afraid.
Oh mate, I was going to say, I've got nothing either. I've got nothing either.
No.
And I might not be playing anything for the rest of the time because, god damn it, I live in a digital age with no internet.
I know. So I'm amazed. You've been like, so it's been 8 hours now. Like, well, actually, it's more like 10 now, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Have you started to regress to more primitive times?
Do you know what? I actually thought to myself, if I survive this, I'm going to buy a dumb phone.
Wow.
I want to see, because I've already kind of done this experiment once before. But like, I'd like to just say, right, I'm gonna put down my smartphone. I'm gonna kind of limit myself to only being able to use computers and things when I'm at my desk. So, no checking messages, no checking social media. No streaming music or films or whatever. If I haven't got it, I can't watch it. Or listen to it, and then just kind of see how it goes.
Yeah. I do think. I mean, I don't have any work stuff on my phone, so I can. I could, if I want, install the app. I could log into my emails, have my email set up on my phone, so I could get all as emails come through, they'd ping over to me. I could set that up on my phone. I could set up. We've got like our internal social media system, which is there's an app for I could download and have on my phone. I point blank refuse to have any of that on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disturbed by work stuff
When you're out and when you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, and
No, I understand that.
And even if you have your notifications turned off, if it's there, the temptation is to, I'll just check my emails. I'll just check see if it's there. So I have none of that installed at all. I point back refuse. There's a new app which we can use as a scanner. The scanner stuff. I have got that installed. That is actually handy day to day. But that doesn't bother me. It doesn't send me. You can set notifications that they ping you when certain things happen. That's all switched off. So again, I can just forget it's there. But I know people at work who check their emails on their days off, who check the social media system we have on their day off. And I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I
remember before lockdown started, I would see people literally just stick to as soon as their phones vibrated, they would guard their phones like a golem would try to, protect the One Ring kind of thing. They'd start hissing at you if you went anywhere near their phone. Now, oddly enough, I've started to see a few people kind of shift away from that, but it kind of creeps me out a little bit. I've never been quite that bad with my phone. But I will say that since I started up a Facebook account back in August, there was a time when I just started kind of like going, oh yeah, I'll just check.
Yeah,
I'm bored. I'll just check. I'll just check my messages. Oh, I got pinged. I'll read that now. And it's like I'd never do it before. I've always said to people, like, I believe I should live my life with technology like I did when I was a kid. If I ever wanted to disconnect from the socials, like chats and stuff like that, all I had to do was turn off my computer and walk away.
Yeah.
Now, because everything's so deeply connected and it follows you around everywhere, it's so difficult.
Yes.
Not to find ways to procrastinate.
Yeah.
So I mean, because I'm not saying my phone is bad, but like I hate smartphones. I hate being so connected, and so I think it'll be nice next month. No, because like the internet's gone. I'll be honest with you. Other than doing the podcast and my live stream, I've barely noticed, like at all. It's not really been a huge problem to me, other than I've installed 5 different Linux distros today, so I've had to tether them off my phone, and my phone carrier is not happy right now.
Screw 'em.
Yeah, that's why I say I pay them for data that I haven't used in ages, and now I'm using it, so get over it. But I could, if you literally said to me, you have to live on like IRC and old school BBSs, I think I'd be happy with that. Basic communication, basic kind of passing of information. And so I'd be cool with that. I don't really feel the need for the modern internet, so I'd like to see. I'd like to go back to a simpler time kind of thing. Actually, funny enough, speaking of simpler times, I've started playing with a thing called Gemini.
Okay.
You have any idea what Gemini is?
But again, name rings a vague bell. But
do you know what Gopher is?
Oh no, that's not what I'm thinking of then.
So it's like a text-based delivery platform. So, you know how back in the day our websites were super simple in HTML, just, plain text, some links, very little bloat, maybe a little bit of CSS
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And you and I have had this rant before where websites are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. To the point now that I think I use nearly 20 megabytes just to go from my cellular carriers homepage to the page that tells me how much bandwidth I've used.
Yeah.
I checked the main page of Reddit, the landing page of Reddit the other day, and that was like 10 megs. Went to the Independent, and I think that was 15 megs just for the landing page.
Yeah.
Some other websites are, smaller, 2, 3, 4 megs, but still, I'm thinking to myself, that's still pretty big considering the sheer lack of information on that page, kind of thing. And the fact that an entire book, Lord of the Rings, is what, 1.5 meg, if that.
Or about that, yeah.
You can fit like maybe two Lord of the Rings novels in the size, or maybe even the entire series of Lord of the Rings books in the size of, say, the Reddit landing page or something like that. And it's not info rich. It's not. So Gemini is text based. It's all text based. And so I spent the other day setting up a Gemini server and just kind of, I would say, coding some Gemini pages, but they're all written in Markdown.
Okay.
And it's literally, I just wrote a few pages for this thing, and made like a very, very basic kind of website, but it's not on the web. It's on Gemini. So you have to have a specific browser to access Gemini. So you could go to like Skazz.com and get my HTTP website. And then if you go to Gemini, blah, 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 Skazz.com, that takes you to my Gemini site that I've coded. So
bit like the Tor browser.
Yeah, you've got like basically 2 layers of the internet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really neat because, you can write pages and pages and pages of text, have it nicely formatted and all that kind of stuff. And it takes up no space at all. I've seen people go as far as to create like microblogging scripts so that people are actually scripting kind of like Twitter on their pages. So that they can kind of, type out a short message, hit a button, and bam, it ends up on their Gemini page. And then there's like people who have wrote aggregator scripts so that they take the kind of microblogging pages from certain sites and then based on the timestamps that are tied to the post, so also like what site it came from, like, I don't know, Skazz.com, and then it'll have like the time that I posted it. And then say SuffolkRam.com, and then the time you posted it would actually kind of order them all chronologically. So they'd almost be like a Twitter feed style thing, and it's in literally a few kilobytes of code and Markdown. It's been really interesting to go back to a simpler time.
Yeah, I think my issue with modern sites is less so much how big, how much space to take up. It's the fact that at some point we decided that they should be form over function.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
So, let's say you go on a website for some random new product, but you're interested in. Okay, you'll have big, massive picture of like the product, some artistic pose with it does this, and a very brief blurb.
And then you scroll down, and it's all animated, and
yeah, and then you get no big picture, no big blurb, but you have to scroll down. Then no big picture, no big blurb, and it's like, can I just have this? Why do I have to keep scrolling to view this? Why can't I just be all up top together? Here are the key features: bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. I just want to grab and say, look, I know that you're a website designer and you want to make it look really swish and fast. That's very nice. Okay, I get that. But when I'm buying, I don't know, a graphics card, I want it simple. I want the key information given to me there and then. I don't want fancy things. If you want to go more depth, upload a video to fucking YouTube and put a link for it so I can watch a video in more depth on it. I want information there and then. I don't want to have to finding it.
I also want to throw out there, it's not even so much that they're giving you like they're not even going in depth when you
No.
go to these
No,
websites. It's literally that you're having to do so much work to get to the very. I mean, they're not. It's not info. It's not dense. It's not dense.
Yeah.
There's not enough there to justify the stuff that you're having to do to get it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of disgusting, really, that you'll have an entire web page of loads and loads of pretty stuff, and you're like, this hasn't even told me what it is I actually want, or the bit that you want is right at the bottom in like a paragraph or a very small table, and it's like, I didn't have to scroll through all of this and look at all the graphics and all the animations and all that kind of stuff. You could have literally just put like a little 3-bar menu at the top.
Yeah.
You know, and one of them says specs, and it just puts me right at the bottom of the page.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not totally against, some degree of, make it snazzy animated. I'm not totally against that. What I am against is that's all you've got.
It's bloat. It's just bloat.
It is. It's like, look, what is if I'm buying something, I want information about it. That's first of all what I'm after, not how fancy you can make it look. Oh look, we took a picture of we've made a 3D render of this product. We put it against a really shiny piano black background at a funny angle to show off its cooling fans or whatever. That's not what I want. I want just give me the information.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. So that's my bugbear is when website dissectors try and make stuff too flashy and too
Well, that's it, because I looked at I dissected a few sites, as I said, and I looked at them, and it's like majority of these sites are graphics and scripting. Like the actual meat of it, the information, was probably one of the smallest parts of the site, and it's like, this is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Like what? And it's not that the internet is slow. It's not that our connections are slow. It's not that we need more powerful computers. It's just that everything we do with them is so bloated now because we want everything to look so pretty. As I said, as you say, I'm fine with things being pretty to a degree, but we've gone too far.
Yeah, it's when the prettiness starts getting in the way of the usefulness, that's when you've got to pull back. I mean, I tell you who I blame for this. Apple. Yeah, they're the ones who started this fucking trend of, okay, I'm interested in I'm looking at upgrading my iPhone, okay, go to your Apple website, here's the new iPhone, right. All I want is a fucking tech spec. That's all I want. I don't want to go big picture. I don't want all that nonsense.
I don't need to see the smiley hipster person taking a picture on a sunset and then the before and after. This is what it would look like if you took it on a normal phone. This is what it looked like if you took it on an iPhone with their fancy new
with their 20,000 cameras and that's not again, you can have demonstrations like, hey, look at these, that's but the information is the important bit, not when you have to if I have to use my scroll mouse to the point where I get RSI on my finger just to like find 6 bits of information out, that's too much. But Apple started the trend and every fucking tech company copied them. Everything. Oculus was bad for that. I've not been on Oculus website in a long time, but I remember when I was looking at the Oculus Rift, that was just as bad. And that was even, what made that even worse was that their text was actually part of the image. So you couldn't even Control F text specs because it's part of the fucking image.
because you can't search an image.
No. So it's like for fuck's sake, I just want the information. Stop it. You want to grab the design and say, look, I want. It's like just make it work. It's like advertising. Anne Sugar once said, he says, when you go to an advertising company and ask them to do an advert for you, they want to design an advert that will win them an award, not an advert that sells your product. And that's, you see it. You watch for half the adverts you get on TV, they advertise. What the fuck was that product they're advertising to me for? I have no idea what that product was. What brand car was that? I don't know.
I've found that so you know how like now if you go on YouTube and stuff, everything is slow panning shots to like lo-fi music now. Low key slider shots with a bit of a a tilt of the product with the background completely out of focus. Now even the presenter has to have a million different colored LEDs in the background, and it's all blurred out. Like video producers are doing the exact same thing. They
Yeah.
look disgustingly cookie cutter. It's all cookie cutter bullshit that doesn't need to be there because they think it looks good and it doesn't. It is so annoying that you have to go through, you know, like, I don't know, there could be a 15-minute video and it turns out that, you know, 7.5 minutes, you know, or out of 15 minutes, let's just pretend like 10 minutes of that video is fluff audio, fluff shots. And I keep trying to say to people, when your B-roll is the majority of the video, you've got it the wrong way around. It's no longer the B-roll.
Yeah.
All right. The bit where you're talking to the camera is now the B-roll.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that you've gone too far with the pretty and not enough with, you know, the bit that was actually important. I don't want to sit there and look at some cheesy music video, but they're doing it in everything now. It started off on YouTube. You now see it on like really crappy daytime TV. You know, and they're just terrible at it.
Yeah.
It's it's horrible.
On the YouTube subject, actually, one thing also YouTube has done, if you actually have adverts blocked, is it has caused advertisers to have to roll back to the old style because you get those 5-second adverts at the start of a YouTube video, so you've got to get your point across in 5 seconds. They're marvellous because they actually get the point across very quickly because they have to. That's actually one good thing the user has done for the advertising. I mean, it's got with the fancies. However, the YouTube people I tend to follow and watch the most of them have a camera. One guy I like watching who does a lot of breakdown videos and teardown videos, he literally has one camera that he sets up on a tripod in front of him as he cuts in, and you even see as he waits for it to refocus on bits, and he swears at it. And that's it. That's his video. It's just one camera. I love it. It's just like simple. It gets the point across. Nothing fancy. Okay, I need to show you this slightly different thing. I will move the camera for that shot, but it's the important bits are there. If I don't have to move the camera, I won't bother.
Yeah,
and that's what I like. I mean, you know, again, it all comes down to. I mean, I've always had this phrase called "murder your darlings," and you probably heard a similar phrase.
It's an old film. It's an old film saying "kill your babies."
Yeah, same thing. The idea is that you basically have to say, okay, this thing here looks really nice and swish, but actually it doesn't help. It doesn't add anything. Get rid of it. Yeah. No matter, even if you spend. I mean, we've probably both done it. We've probably done an edit. You spend a lot of time thinking so it's going to look quite cool and neat. You spend a lot of time doing it, and actually you look and go, it's cool, it looks neat, but actually it doesn't help. I'm just going to delete it.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure everybody's done that. We've all done that. It's like, actually... That's
not something that people tend to do now, though, sadly. You know, there is so much eye candy.
Yeah.
You know what? I did joke the other day. I was like, you know what? I'm starting to expect this of product videos, but like, Jesus, I've got like now even daily vlogs are starting to look like product advertisements. But I'm like, I wonder if porn has got this bad yet. Like, have they got rid of the cheese and now they're going for the slow panning shots with the crap music and you know the shallow depth of field, and then you know it just cuts to like 30 seconds of someone getting railed, and then that's it, and you're like, okay.
Or is it still Vaseline on a lens? That's what you have now. What has your research developed and told us? Wait, your research's broken, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, I wouldn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't even dare, because I'll tell you this now. If it turns out that it had devolved into like a YouTube style, you know, clusterfuck hipster video, I would scream. You know, if the one thing that the world excused being really shitty VHS quality, terrible acting, all that, if that turned into a YouTube video...
I've just got this vision of the two porn actors just turning at the camera at the very last second at the moment clone and just say, if you've liked this, please make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell.
I would fucking cry. I'm sure. Look, you probably see it in other videos as well, like in YouTube and on TV now, where they have that stupid like, hey, look, the little like the Instagram icon pops up in the bottom corner, animates, and then the person's username slides out.
Oh yeah,
you know, like that kind of stuff is starting to appear on regular television now. Can we please stop it? It looks stupid and ruins the video. Because there's going to come a time where, like, hey, what the fuck are you going to do if you ever like get a series and you make a DVD remaster of it? You're still going to have Instagram accounts fucking animating on it? Like, you still think that's actually worth a fuck? If people actually want to follow you, they'll find you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to plaster it all over your videos. You don't have to put all these stupid little advertisements and fucking lower thirds in all the fucking time. You know, that was something that used to be done on old school live streams. You know, you'd put in a lower third, an animated lower third for someone. But now the fact that you're literally putting in like an animated subscribe button, a call to action in your videos and that, it's like, geez, seriously, they're probably going to have that on porn. Like, there you go, it slides in. You know, the Instagram logo, the Twitter logo, you know, follow us. It's like, no, you know, Christ. I think I'm just too old.
Yeah.
I really do just think I'm too old. I'm bitter and bickering about what everyone else really likes. Everyone likes to be these annoying, droopy, well-groomed, greased-up hipster fucking bellends that have no goddamned idea. They just want it to look good.
But then, is it what they... See, this is it's what do the viewers actually enjoy to what the person doing? So the person doing it thinks, hey, this looks really strange. I'll put that in because that looks... I've just done an After Effects tutorial. I'll put that in because that looks really swish and fancy and spanky. And the viewers probably don't care. The viewers probably don't give a shit whether it's there or not. Now, I can't think there are many people who are so vague to go, well, you know, the information he gets is really good, his presence is really good, but he hasn't got an animated Instagram logo on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, mate, you'd be surprised. So, daily vlogging used to be really simple and really raw back in the day. I mean, I'd been doing it for over a decade, or as near to a decade as Matt is, right? It was very, very simple, you know, straight cuts and all that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, a couple of guys come in, and they then become they are daily vloggers. You know what I mean? Like, no one remembers daily vlogging before. It's just these few guys, and everyone from that point on took their style. It was all cut to music, pan in shots. You know, fucking terrible, absolutely terrible. It was all style. Very little actual substance. But people ate it up, and then they copied it.
Yeah.
And then that's what the style became. And it was the same for tech videos. You'd see them doing the exact same stuff. A few little tricks started to get popular, and everyone took it and rolled with it.
Yeah, I think it becomes possible because, like, the people who do it become popular. And so, I guess, what the popular person do, it can't be because of, you know, what they're doing. Like, it can't possibly be because of what their presentations are and the fact they just hit a niche. It must be because they're fancy editing. If I copy that, I'll therefore be as popular as them. I think that's part of it as well. People just... There are reasons why... So there's a lot of... In YouTube, there's a hell of a lot of luck involved. You can make fantastic content and you'll have hardly any subscribers out there. Because unless you get picked up by algorithm, unless you get picked up by that... you know, YouTube, Survey's favourite. YouTube favours clickbait headlines. It favours that. If you put just normal, very matter of fact, I mean, I tend to put very matter of fact headlines on our titles on our videos, just really simple, quick to the point things. But I could probably get a lot more views if I put a clickbaity title on it.
Yeah,
because I would reward that. So it becomes a sort of it becomes a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. It's just people tend to just hit it right. It does create some really horrible things, and there are people out there who don't do that, and they just don't get the YouTube love because. And that's the other thing is, once you get to a certain size, you tend to become a steamroller effect. You know, well, this guy's big, therefore this guy who does this tech video, he's got the most subscribers. He must therefore be best. Therefore, I should subscribe to him.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at certain points of who's the best. So it's just what it is. And no, I think people. I think what I'm saying is, look out. Don't be scared to. If you see a video of low view count, don't be scared just to click on it.
And because that might be the one video that has all of the information in it that you actually want.
Yeah. I mean, I say, given that on average our videos get less than 10 views. So, I'm just saying, please, click on them. And...
Yeah. Hit the subscribe button.
Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and a little notification bell so you can get a little notification whenever we post something, because you really want that, don't you? Because it's so hard to go on and just look at your subscriptions on YouTube.
Well, I don't know. It's not just YouTube though. I've had to have conversations with people outside of YouTube and Instagram that I could say, look, you could be, someone that's the top of your field, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get recognized. It doesn't mean you're going to get noticed. You could be, you could be trained. You could be one of the world's greatest guitarists, but if people don't find you,
just because
you're good doesn't mean you're going to get found.
If you just play for an indie band and the person and like the talent spotter just happens never to come to your pub where you work in, and you never audition, well, you're never going to get found out.
Yep.
It's like the popular scientists and stuff you see on the frizz. Most of them are scientists, but they're probably not the best one in that field. They're just the ones that are good at presenting. And there's a certain need for that. You may be the best in your field, but if you can't present, someone needs to be there to get information across the pub to the people who don't know about that sort of stuff. That's not to say a bad thing in that regards, but it doesn't mean that you are the be-all, because you are the famous one, the famous one, you're not the be-all and end-all of all the people involved in that. I mean, I doubt Neil deGrasse Tyson's the best astronomer out there, but he does all this TV programs, so that's what people tend to think of. And, Brian Cox, you've got Bill Nye, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bill Nye's a funny one, isn't it? Because... a lot of people used to look up to Bill Nye, and then they realized that he doesn't. Like, he was presenting on topics he didn't really know anything about.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
But because he was the big name that people wanted him in to talk about it. So, but that's not his field of expertise.
Yeah, and exactly. He's a scientist. He's an actual scientist. But he was getting called into, on like talk shows to discuss something he doesn't know anything about.
Yeah,
and that's a problem. That's a problem.
That's like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about COVID-19. It's like, it's not his area of expertise. No,
exactly. So there are space out there for people who are good communicators, and you need those people who can get complicated subjects across simply, but you can't accept they are the smartest people in the block. It's just not how it works. So anyway, that's rant over.
Sure.
Cool. Right then. So, unless there's anything else you want to rant about?
No, that's it. I'm just saying that I set up a Gemini server, and I'm really enjoying kind of the simpler times. And now that my internet is literally tanked, I mean, even if my internet connection was god awful, worse than it is now. And I mean, I'm on 5 down, 5 up, or something to that effect. So basically, the internet connection I had about a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago. I could still load up a Gemini site and IRC, no problem, and still pull down loads of information, have loads of stuff to read, and all that kind of stuff, and still be able to talk to people, whereas I can't seem to do anything on the modern internet with a connection so poor.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I can't even fire up my webcam at the moment for the podcast. Not that anyone needs to see my gorgeous face. But it just doesn't seem to be a thing. Yet I remember years and years and years ago, we used to be able to do that. Was the quality great? No, but at least you could still do it.
Yeah. Sound great.
And now everyone's trying to race to get the best thing possible, even though they don't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
We've actually made entirely new markets. We've brought back markets that were on they're on the edge of failure. We've brought them back. Just because of all these random who the fuck used to go out and buy a Canon DSLR back in the day unless you were a photographer? And then YouTube became a thing. Who the fuck realistically went out and bought an audio recorder back in the day? And now everyone's getting into audio, everyone's getting into video, everyone's getting into photography, podcasting. I mean, shit, my field's completely saturated.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to retreat to simpler times where I could have just sat on IRC and AOL Instant Messenger and just, chat shit. Not everything's about, politics, memes, and random fucking fluff. Reposting someone else's GIF. Sorry.
I've just got a vision of some of like in the future, some wise old man coming to one of your kids and obviously grown up saying, "This is your father's IRC account. It's from a more civilized, simpler time."
I don't know. Look, well, that's the thing as well, though. You see so many of so many of the internet's greatest things have happened on the simplest platforms like IRC, and yet all you see on Facebook, because that's where all the normies are at, is just spite and bile, hatred.
Yeah,
But
Facebook is a problem.
But that's basically where everyone goes. That's what the internet is now. It's Google, it's Facebook, it's YouTube. No one worries about the other stuff.
I think, although Facebook's still big, I think it is on its. I think it's now like all server. I think it's now going to start going to its decline phase now.
Yeah.
I think it seems to be Instagram seems to be the thing at the moment.
Yeah, I hate Instagram now. It's getting even. That's turned into a fucking dive. It used to be a photo sharing site. Now it's practically a fucking It's basically YouTube in still frame. Yeah. Absolutely horrible, pretentious, snot-nosed little cunts.
Yeah.
Sorry. Nope.
I suggest we end before we get to
before I go off on another rant.
Yeah.
Check out if anyone's into like a bit more Wild West internet, right? Gemini for really basic text-based sites. Capsules, I think they call them, Gemini capsules. If you want a decentralized Twitter, look into Mastodon. If you want to try a decentralized kind of Instagram style thing, look up PixelFed. I can't remember the Facebook kind of clones, but I mean, there are less normies there, so there's generally less bickering. And if you're after a video site, go to Odysee.com, ODYSEE.com. Generally all right people there.
I set up an account from that.
Mate, it literally takes no time at all, and they auto sync your YouTube videos over.
Yeah, I need to get around to doing that for us. I'll get one set up.
Sure.
Cool. Well, what we'll do is we'll put links to all those in the show notes. So when you get podcast, you can link to them all they'll be on the YouTube description eventually and on the website as well.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody for listening and watching just my ugly mug this week.
Thanks, man.
It's all right. That was like, shit, I've got to set OBS up to do this. I think I know what to do. Let's see if this works. And by magic, it has.
Seriously, man, I turned on my camera and my entire machine went, nah, you can't do that. I was like, no.
Computer says no.
That was it. Like, literally, I had error messages come up. I was like, oh, I'm going to turn that off, restart this. Let's try that again. Simplify, man.
Simplify. So, yeah, you can come see us on our next podcast, which is on March the 13th, 2021. Nearly our anniversary to lockdown podcast. So you can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/randnerds. We've got a website, randnerds.co.uk. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/randnerds. You can also watch our Twitch stream, which is what you're watching now, randnerds.com, sorry, twitch.tv/randnerds. And you can also check up our every Tuesday we do a games night. Me and Skazz and chat, we all play games and stream them. You can check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/the
and twitch.tv/Skazzius, SK4ZZI0US, although that's if I ever get the internet back.
yeah, we have to have it fixed by Tuesday. I demand it.
I'll start streaming like 480p Tetris.
Good. Until next time, guys, we look forward to seeing episode 161 in a couple weeks' time. Thanks for watching.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye, guys.